We are back from the All-Star break, and we are back in a big way as the Seattle Mariners get the second half of their season started out right with a big win over the Houston Astros. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome in to the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners defeat the Houston Astros tonight 6-1. They improved to 52-45 on the season. They are 4 back now in the AL West. They maintain a 1.5 game lead on a playoff spot. As always, before I go any further, if you can hit the like button, it helps out a lot. Subscribe if you're new or lurking. We're about 190 subs away from 5,000. Big win over division rival. So let's celebrate it. Hit that sub button. And don't forget to leave your comments on the team and the game down below. Just a great way to start the second half of the season for the Mariners, picking up where they left off to finish the first half. They had a big sweep of the Detroit Tigers, and they start out the second half with a great win over the Houston Astros. And this is their chance to get back into this division race a little bit this weekend. And this is a good start, right? I mean, you've guaranteed you've won one here. You're 4 back. You know, if you can split the next 2, you walk out of here 4 back. That's okay. It's not, the greatest scenario ever, but you can chip away at a 4-game lead. Maybe you win the next series against Houston. That's 3, and you chip away as you go along. Maybe you get greedy, you sweep this series, and if you can do that, it's game on. It is absolutely game on if you're 2 back. Now, you could also lose the next 2, and the division's kind of back to where we go, don't really see it happening necessarily. But yeah, Luis Castillo, absolutely fantastic today on the mound. One of, I think, maybe a top 5 start for him this season. He was dialed in. Brass struggled a little bit, but locked it in, and then Bizardo finished it off. The offense struggled here against Brendan Walter early on. I thought he threw the ball really well, and sometimes opposing pitchers deserve credit. The Mariners are coming off a series where they dominated Tarek Skubal, Casey Mize, and did work against a good Tigers bullpen. So I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then they were able to add on and still put up 6 runs in this game by getting to the Astros bullpen, which has been really solid this season as well. So the Mariners still do find a way to put up 6 runs in this game. So it's, kind of the ideal game here, right? This is the ones you dial up. Your pitching's locked in, and you don't have to have 20 runs a game, but you get that 5 to 7 range. And this team, hopefully, if the pitching is a little bit more dialed in the second half of this season, they should win a lot of games like this, and they have the potential to definitely do so. I do want to talk a little bit about something that I know some fans were frustrated about, and that was the Mariners' rotation to begin the second half of the season and how they aligned it. Logan Evans is going to go tomorrow. I know that frustrated some people, myself included, because you're coming off the All-Star break. So Brian Wu should be good to go, even though he did pitch in the All-Star game. Great All-Star game, by the way. I actually really enjoyed it this year. I thought it was a fun game. And then, Logan Gilbert is on, if he pitches in the series 6 or 7 days rest, as is George Kirby potentially. So why not have your best 3 go in the series? I'm with you guys. I agree. I don't love the fact that Logan Evans is going tomorrow, but I will defend the decision a little bit based on a few things. Number one, the Mariners are actually beginning another 17 games in 17-day stretch here. So they are playing a lot of baseball games in the next 17 days, just like they did a couple weeks ago. That is not easy. So you're going to have to kind of balance things out a little bit. I don't think the schedule makers did the Mariners a lot of favors. It is what it is. You got to play the schedule you have. That's number one. Number 2, and I know people are tired of hearing it because it's rest. They just had rest. Brian Wu is approaching a career high in innings pitched. Logan Gilbert is coming off an elbow forearm injury where we thought maybe Tommy John, and the stuff looks great, but he's not getting super deep into the games. And George Kirby had a shoulder injury in the offseason and has looked better of late, but still not back to maybe peak George Kirby. I would prefer to have your big guns going against Houston because you play Milwaukee next, and every game is important for where the Mariners are at in the season. But certainly the games against Houston are probably a titch more important than the games against the Brewers. But I can understand from that aspect being careful with the pitching here in the second half of the season and not just throwing these guys to the wolves necessarily. I don't love it. But I think the reasoning does make some sense. I would have probably gone Castillo tonight was fine. He's kind of had the most rest outside of Wu, and Wu did pitch in the All-Star game. I probably would have gone with Kirby tomorrow because he's been off for a week. And then Sunday, I would have left to be determined. If you win the first 2 games, maybe you throw Evans out there on Sunday, push everybody back. And if you don't, then you can go with Gilbert there and then Wu to start out the next series potentially is how I would have done it. But again, it's not to make like this front office, they're right about this and the coaching staff is right. They may be wrong. This may be the wrong choice. Just defending a little bit why I think they did it and where it does make some sense for them, uh, to do this. And Logan Evans has pitched well at home too, right? Like we haven't gotten 2023, 2024 Logan Gilbert yet or George Kirby. We have gotten it from Brian Wu's been outstanding. But like I said, Wu pitched in the All-Star game and everything. And let's just celebrate this victory tonight. Let's go ahead and dive into the box score of a great win today for the Seattle Mariners. If I can get my mouse over here. Luis Castillo, 6 2/3, 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, no runs, obviously no earned. Lowers his ERA to 3.21. Castillo has really been an underrated aspect of the team this year. And he was a guy that I think we all thought wouldn't be on this team this season. I think we all thought he was going to be traded, and rightfully so. It made some sense why they would look to trade him for a bat. We thought the offense was behind the pitching. Castillo's your most expensive starter and probably you felt like the most likely one to regress. Funny enough, he's been the best, and Bryce Miller's been hurt. Logan's been hurt. George has been hurt. Brian Wu's been fantastic, but kind of funny how it's worked out. But I don't know where this team would be without Luis Castillo this season. He has been absolutely phenomenal. Just not only has he been outstanding, but when you've needed him the most, he has stepped up. And with all the injuries in this rotation, as much as it hasn't been what we've expected from it this year, hasn't been bad, I don't think, but it hasn't been as dominant as we've seen in the past. Castillo has absolutely stepped up and just been great, really been great this year. I thought he was dialed in today. That first inning was a little long, I thought, 24, 25 pitches. I remember too, these guys have been off for a few days, so it may take a little bit to get, in the groove, essentially, which I think is what happened with Castillo there. And it was a shame he couldn't finish the outing. Trammell had a great at-bat there in the 7th. Would have loved to seen Castillo get through 7, but 6 2/3. Great way to start a long line of games for the Mariners, so they're going to need to balance the bullpen here again, and Castillo helps them with a great start. Gabe Spire gets Dubon to pop out on 2 pitches. Matt Brash not at his best today, but does get it dialed in. He walks Matthews to start the 8th inning. Then Paredes bangs the double off the wall. Thinking, here we go a little bit. Settles in, finds the strike zone, gets who hit after? Please. Gets Cam Smith to strike out on the slider. And I think that kind of got Brash to settle down a little bit. Because when you have a runner at second, nobody out, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking as a pitcher because an out could move the runner over, another out could tie the game. So you're trying to be maybe a little cute there, trying to get that strikeout or that out that doesn't advance the runner. He was able to do that with Cam Smith, and I think he really settled in, got Altuve to pop up, and got Christian Walker to pop up. So certainly not Brash at his best. And there's been some cracks in the armor the last few times, a little bit more so for Brash in the last few weeks. Had that outing against New York where he wasn't great, and then tonight. But the stuff is still there. It's always going to be the one bugaboo with Brash. He can just struggle with the command control, put guys on base, and then he wasn't throwing strikes and threw a fastball over the middle, and Paredes handled it. Kind of is what it is a little bit with that. So, but finds his groove and gets through it. Pizarro pitches a shutout 9th. I'll be honest, I was kind of already celebrating the W at that point, so I didn't really see how well Pizarro pitched, but got the job done without any headaches. And you save Munoz. It's always nice when Brash and Munoz, only one of them pitches, and you can save the other one for the next day. And Spire should be good to go as well. I would have rather seen Vargas, I think, in that 9th, because I think Bizardo is the better reliever now. So I'd rather have seen Vargas up 5 and then go to Bizardo and save him potentially, for a higher leverage situation tomorrow. But the good news is Spire is going to be good to go. Brash is probably down, but you'll have Munoz. You'll have probably Bizardo still if you need him. So bullpen in outstanding shape. And yeah, did the Mariners struggle against Walter? Yes, 6 innings, 3 hits for him, 1 run. It was earned on the Randy home run, a walk and 7 strikeouts. But they managed to get to the bullpen big time. They got a run off Sousa on the Garver home run. They got to Okert there in the 9th. And they also added a couple runs against Hector Neris. So where they struggled against the starter, they did the damage against the bullpen. And I thought Walter looked good. I mean, sometimes it's just a starting. He's been great this year. You'll look at his Savant page. It is like The guy looks like Garrett Crochet. I actually thought Aaron Goldsmith and Roland Smith, right? I would say Goldsmith and Roland Smith made a good analogy. Dallas Keuchel vibes. I actually think that makes a lot of sense. That's what I saw from him. Small sample, of course, but he only had 2 walks all season coming into tonight. Sometimes you tip your cap, and it's easier to do that as well when you win the ball game. So let's go ahead and get into the offense today. Mariners pound out 6 hits. They do get 4 walks as well, and 2 home runs. So 2 of the 6 hits go out of the ballpark. JP was just 1 for 4. It was a big 1 for 4, though. He got that 3rd run across there in the bottom of the 8th. Gave you that breathing room that you needed. Brash gives up the run the 8th. You get a little nervous there. JP delivers and lets you breathe a little bit. Julio, not great, but a couple walks today. Like I said, Walter only had 2 walks all season, or at least as a starter, only 2 walks. I'm not sure if he had another one in the bullpen or not, or if he pitched out of the bullpen, I'm not even sure. So good job by Julio to spit on some of those pitches and then walked against Neris too. And those are at bats where we've seen Julio get a little too amped up, especially against Hector Neris. Remember 2023 and everything that went down there. So it would make some sense if Julio was a little too amped up and tried to do too much in that at bat, but he didn't. Took his base. Did have kind of a base running blunder right before the Randy home run, of course. Cal popped up. Julio was stealing second, which, that happens. He slid into the base. I think he got deked a little bit by the shortstop or the second baseman and then got thrown out at first. It's a bad look, right? Because it's a double play on a ball that was just popped up to the first baseman. If it wasn't Julio, I'd probably just say whatever, but it seems like Julio's kind of always at the center of some what are you doing on the base pass, dude? And then he kind of went back to second. I think he just completely lost track of the baseball. And we've seen that happen a lot in baseball when guys steal, right? Like they run and then they're just not sure where the ball went. So it's probably just a baseball thing that happens, but definitely definitely frustrating because it could have mattered, right? Because then Randy homers, that could have been a 2-run home run. But other than that, Julio, good to see a couple walks from him. Hopefully he stays hot in the second half. He's probably the one guy that didn't want the All-Star break to come with how well he swung the bat in Detroit. Cal 1 for 4, big base hit. Again, the 8th, it really opened it up. They had some great at-bats in that 8th inning. JP, Julio, and Cal, all fantastic. Randy stays red hot after the All-Star game. Randy was at the center of the All-Star game pretty big. Almost hit a home run off the Miz there from the Brewers. And then was involved in that home run derby swing off, which I cannot believe how many people were mad at Aaron Boone for that and who he put in. It's an exhibition game. I don't think you could even use the starters if I'm not mistaken. And who cares? It's a fun game. Who cares if it was a Rhonda and Randy and not Judge and Cal and those guys? The game doesn't matter. It's just for fun. So it was cool to see Randy kind of not center stage, but get some action in the All-Star game. He has a walk today and the big home run. That's 18. The way Randy's going, he's going to pass Cal here in a few weeks with the home runs he's hitting. Solano was 0 for 3. Did have a sac fly. Got a big run in there. Mitch Garver stays dialed in. He gets a base hit and a big solo home run in the 7th inning, which at the time really did feel like the game winner. The way the Mariners were pitching, kind of felt like 2 was going to be enough. So Garver really been locked into the point where, for a while there was, hey, for backup catcher, not bad numbers. That's still kind of where he is. He's been fine as your number 2 catcher, but he's starting to provide some value at the bat where you definitely want him DHing as he did today against a lefty. Dylan Moore 0 for 3. I mean, I don't know. You got to upgrade that position because they kind of need that guy. Maybe that's Victor Robles. I think he was playing catch today, so maybe there's a chance Victor gets back in there in a month or so. But until that time, that may be a position you look to upgrade at the deadline. Nice game for Cole Young. Again, just solid. 1 for 2 with the base hit off a lefty and a walk as well against a lefty. So nice game from Cole Young. Ben Williamson was 0 for 2. I think he made a really nice defensive play. I don't remember who it was on, though. And then he had a nice bunt there in the 8th inning. That was key because you really just wanted that one more run in that situation to give yourself the little boost there. So nice job by Williamson to get that bunt down. And a great start after the All-Star break for the boys. You've got a chance here to make a dent into Houston's lead. Houston's banged up right now. That's not the roster they envisioned. You don't have Jeremy Pena in there, I'm assuming, for this entire series. Don't know with Yordan Alvarez. You do now get Hunter Brown on Sunday. You were going to get Framber Valdez. I mean, pick your poison. I'd probably rather face Valdez, but then against Brown, at least you get Rayleigh and Canzone in there, so that can balance it out a little bit. McCullers goes tomorrow. He struggled, but the Mariners have always seemed to struggle against him. This is the chance. This is a chance to, if you want to crack at the AL West, this is the series to do it. Which is why it is kind of disappointing they're going with Logan Evans tomorrow, just from that aspect, because it really feels like a game you want to get. And if you can find a way tomorrow and get this thing to 3 back, and then best case scenario, you sweep, which long way to go. You got to win 2 big games. I mean, it's wide open then. 2 games is nothing. We've seen 2 games disappear like that. I mean, if the Mariners do find a way to sweep this series, again, maybe could completely go the other way. The Astros could win it. It's not crazy that at the end of next week, the Mariners could be in first place. So you really do have a huge opportunity here. And so far, so good for the guys. Mariners have won 4 in a row. First time they've done that since like late April or early May. I think that low key is a huge thing for this team. I think where we've kind of been like so up and down with them is they haven't rattled off a lot of wins in a row. They've won some series, but then they followed up with, they've been very, up and down for the last couple months, even the last road trip, right? Like they sweep the Tigers, but it still was just kind of a nice 3-3 road trip. They just found a way to win 1 against the Yankees there. And they should have won that one. This should have been the 5th straight win, but it's not. We only have what's in front of us, and that's 4 wins in a row here for the Mariners. So good start to the second half. I think it's a good time to face the Astros. They didn't go into the All-Star break playing their best ball. Sometimes you get worried the All-Star break's a chance for teams to reset, but so far so good for the Seattle Mariners. And Luis Castillo dominant offense. Like I said, struggled against Walter, but I thought he threw the ball well, and they did damage against the bullpen. Just great win to start out the second half. And we'll see if they can keep it going tomorrow. Remember to like, remember to comment. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all tomorrow for the post-game recap. As always, go Mariners. Peace.